When you're watching Die Hard with a Vengeance, this is the third movie of the Die Hard franchise, and I have to say, I think that they did a really good job with this one. The reason I like this one is because it's entangled in the Die Hard franchise, but at the same time, it's like it feels fresh, like a fresh take on it. It doesn't feel cramped. It feels like you have a lot of open space to work with the playground kind of being New York City. Whereas in the first one, they're trapped in a building. The second one, they're trapped in an airport. And this one, it feels like they're very expansive. They go from place to place. There's travel time. They're like moving throughout the city. I really like that aspect of this one. It didn't feel cramped or enclosed in a certain place. It felt like they were able to go out and venture out. And now it all falls into place with the bad guys' plans. So one of the greatest additions to this movie was Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, this guy has been in so many movies, it's insane, but I feel like he was such a necessary part of the movie. I like how he comes into it, like it obviously, is racially motivated. I mean, from start to finish, this movie was pretty crazy what they were going for and what happens. But overall, what I think about this movie, I kind of just remember the good parts about it. Like, obviously, you can nitpick it all you want and realize how like unrealistic it is, or it is unrealistic. All the movies are, but when I think about it, I'm just kind of like, I had a good time with it, or I actually really like it. And I guess it really has to do with the characters, with Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson kind of working together throughout this movie. So essentially, what happens in this movie is Bruce Willis as John McClane is back in New York City. Him and his wife are separated again, or they're not working out anymore. So he goes from being... Okay, so essentially, the first movie, he's a New York City cop. His wife moves to L.A. to pursue a job, and it works out. Second movie, he moves to L.A., but he goes to Washington, D.C. for Christmas, I guess. And then in this third movie, you know what I mean? He's a New York City cop again. His wife is still in L.A., and they're just, you know what I mean? They're going through some issues, and I think... the main problem with it is just that, like, he just doesn't know how to communicate or whatever. I don't know. That was the big thing, and that was kind of like the least important part of it to me, because it's always a back and forth, but he's just kind of been like, for a year he hasn't talked to his wife because of something. They had an argument or whatever. Anyways, that's not the important part. The important part is he's back in New York City, but he gets a call from... his police department gets a call, and they kind of just say, listen, I'm going to blow up another part of the city, because the movie starts off with an explosion in like some sort of grocery store or like deli kind of a spot, and then the villain kind of goes in like a German accent. He's kind of like, or not German accent, but like in some sort of accent, and he kind of is just saying, if you don't get John McClane to do exactly what I say, we're going to blow up another part of the city. I mean, another, you know what I mean? We're going to blow up another bomb, and you're going to have difficulty with that too. So just get John McClane down here, and he's going to do all of our dirty work. He's going to do essentially everything I tell him. And they play like a game of Simon Says and whatnot. So the first thing that this guy makes John McClane do, he makes him wear this sign that's, I mean, it is so racist. And I was just like, that is bold. That is crazy. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was like, I mean, I was just like, I was amazed that they were like, yeah, we're going to do this, and this is going to be like such a strong bit. And I was like, all right, this is obviously, it's to get tensions high up there, okay? But I thought it was just so I thought it was so wild that Bruce Willis and that whole movie team was like, this is what we're gonna do. But you have to understand, in the context of the movie, it makes, you know what I mean? I mean, it's wrong, but in the context of the movie, you get what the bad guy's trying to do. He's trying to make John McClane the bad guy, or trying to get him provoked, trying to get him hurt, essentially. So that's when Samuel L. Jackson comes into the mix. That's when he pops up. He's like, yo, dude, you can't wear a sign like that around here because these guys are going to kill you, and then it's going to be bad business for me because the cops are going to show up, and then the cops are just going to ruin everything around this neighborhood. So I don't need that in my life. What I need, what I personally want, is for you to walk away, put away the sign, and just kind of get done with it. And then John McClane has to explain to him, is like, listen, dude, I'm on official police business. I don't want to do this stuff, but just, dude, just leave me alone. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get this done right here, right now. And this guy is just like, no, you have to stop. And then eventually Bruce Willis gets found out with the sign on him. And then everybody else, every other African-American person, every black guy that sees the sign and is like, oh, what's up? You know what I mean? They're about to murder him, essentially. And then at the last second, you know, Samuel L. Jackson flags down a cab and they escape. You know what I mean? And then the guy on the phone is essentially like, who are you? You were not a part of the equation. You're not supposed to be a part of this, but since you're here already, you might as well tag along. You're a part of this now too. And that's how Samuel L. Jackson kind of gets roped into it. He tries to be a good Samaritan. He tries to do some good in the world, and then he has to become a part of this bigger plot of just terrible stuff, you know? So anyways, we come to find out that there are bombs planted all throughout the city, and they have to solve certain riddles in order to get them done, in order to complete them. So their next task, well, I guess their first task as a group is to go to a payphone and to solve some sort of riddle and to pick up the call. So Samuel L. Jackson starts using his newfound power of being a police officer to get people off of the payphone, because payphones were huge back in the 90s or the 80s or whatever. So they're there, and there's this lady on the payphone that they're supposed to be talking to, and Bruce Willis is trying to be like the nice guy. He's like, excuse me, ma'am, this is official police business. We need this phone. And then she's like, I was here first or whatever. And then Samuel L. Jackson's like, get off the phone, lady. All right? Police. We're police. Get off the phone. Damn. Get your fat ass moving somewhere. Damn. And then Bruce Willis is like, hey, you can't talk to people like that. It's like, listen, dude, I'm here because I tried to help you out, and I don't need you. You need me. So either that, or I'm just gonna walk away. And Bruce Willis is like, all right, fine. You can use the cop thing. You could do whatever you want. Just stay. I need you. And so they get the first call, and it's essentially some sort of, it's a riddle that they have to solve. Otherwise, supposedly, a trash can next to them is going to blow up with the bomb in it. So, the riddles in this movie are actually pretty good. You know, I mean, they're also pretty basic, but they're just good riddles overall. You know, they fit the plot of it. And I myself was trying to figure it out, but I figured it out a little bit quicker than the movie did, which is something I guess I probably shouldn't admit. Anyways, the riddle is essentially something about a guy. As I was walking through the park, I met a guy who was going to some place, and he had 6 wives, 6 kids, 7 sons, 7 cats, 13 babies, and something else in between. And then he's just like, how many people are going to this place? And they're trying to figure out the riddle, and Bruce Willis is like, he has a hangover because he wasn't supposed to be on duty. He's like suspended. So anyways, Bruce Willis is like, oh wait, hold on, I didn't get that. Can you repeat it again? And the guy's like, not a chance. So then he has the one time, and he goes, the answer is the rest of the phone number. It is 555, and then the answer to the riddle. And so essentially all it comes down to is all the numbers were just to mess with them, and all that really matters is that it's one guy that's going to the place. So So the answer to the riddle is 5550001, something like that. But they take too long to solve the riddle. So now they're afraid that the bomb is going to explode, but it turns out it's a dud, it's a fake. And now they have to go to a real bomb. So then it becomes like this speed chase across town, across the city, I mean, and it's just trying to get from one place to another. And it's also Bruce Willis trying to find like a way to stop the bomb even if they don't get there in time. So it's Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson trying to get to, I guess, like a train station or a subway or whatever. And the goal there is they're trying to force them to get somewhere that they're not going to be able to stop. So Bruce Willis is like, okay, there is a bomb on the subway train, okay? It's about to explode, but before it goes off, I'm going to try to find the bomb. And you, Samuel L. Jackson, you're going to go to the payphone that he's telling us to go to. And then there are any various moments of tension. Bruce Willis has to find the bomb on the subway. Samuel L. Jackson has to reach the payphone and then wait till the last second to pick up the phone. And then he also has to avoid getting shot by the cops because a police officer sees him being rude to somebody on the payphone. And he's like, listen, dude, I need this phone right here, right now. I can't wait for you to talk to your whoever. So there's like this heavy amount of tension there. And then Samuel L. Jackson's like, I have to pick up the phone. So he picks up the phone. And he's talking to the bad guy, who's played by Jeremy Irons, who is fantastic. He does a great job in this movie. I think it's one of his weaker acting roles, but I thought he did the villain type pretty easily. So just to make the long story short, they don't stop the bomb. And it explodes down in the subway station, and it's just a huge mess down there. Bruce Willis miraculously survives, like he always does. And now Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis are trying to, like, figure out what to do next. What's the next thing that they're going to do? And I think it's at some point or another, like right there, that they find out who the bad guy is. And he's supposedly... You remember the first movie, the bad guy played by Alan Rickman. Well, this is his brother, and that's why it's like Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's kind of like he's getting vengeance for his brother, but he's also not getting vengeance for his brother. It's a very complicated relationship. So anyways, now the bad guy essentially sends the police on a wild goose chase looking for a bomb across schools all throughout New York City. So he's kind of like, there is a bomb placed in one school across the city. So, and you won't know which one it is, so you guys have to figure it out. So the police spread themselves out to every single school throughout the city in order to find the bomb. But it was all just a big distraction. All of the bombs were just so that way they could make their real target, like, fall under the radar, if that makes sense. So the first bomb, yeah, it hurt some people, but that wasn't their intended target. Like, they weren't trying to be terrorists. They're actually thieves, just like in the first movie. And you know what I mean? So now it's all about, okay, what's the next step? How can we get the police away from what we actually want? Well, we tell them that there's more bombs throughout the city, so that way they have to spread themselves out and they can't focus on the one part that just happened. So they blew up that first place to get the police's attention. The second thing was they got a police detective on the case, somebody that they can focus their time and get more information on. The third thing that they do is they set off another bomb directly underneath Wall Street near a vault where they're holding a bunch of gold, which, I don't know if that's true or not, but believe it or not, there's gold in there. So they're doing a bunch of things down there with gold. And with the gold what they start doing is they start collecting it. They start packaging it up and putting it into trucks. And because it's like a crime scene, it's like a huge damage to the property, they pretend to be like a cleanup crew. They pretend to be like a construction crew trying to clean out all of the mess and the clutter, when actually they're getting a bunch of the gold. They're stealing a bunch of the gold. So now the next part is getting John McClane away from the crime scene, getting the police away from the crime scene, and moving on to their next step. And then they plant more bombs throughout the city for John McClane and Samuel L. Jackson to kind of get rid of or to solve. So the next step, the next riddle for Samuel L. Jackson and for Bruce Willis to solve is, it's kind of this gallon, it's this gallon trick. My bad, it's a gallon riddle. So there's a 5-gallon jug and a 3-gallon, you know what I mean, and a 3-gallon jug, you know, for filling up water. And essentially all they have to do is they have to fill one of the gallon jugs with 4 gallons of water perfectly. And then they weigh it on the bomb, and then that'll deactivate it. So that way they won't explode. So there's so many funny moments in this movie, but there's a good back and forth between Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson in this moment, where it's just like, it feels like there's just so much tension between them that it just kind of like builds up into Samuel L. Jackson like, say it. It was like, what are you talking about? It's like, you were going to call me the N-word, weren't you? And Bruce Willis is like, no, I wasn't. And he was like, what were you going to call me? He was like, asshole. How do you like that, asshole? I was going to call you that. I was going to call you an asshole. And then Samuel L. Jackson's like, yeah, right. And then they essentially solve the riddle together. And I thought that was so funny, and it fits so perfectly with like what like Samuel L. Jackson like would really say. I thought it was so funny that the two of them, just in that moment, like the bomb's about to go off, they're trying to solve the riddle, they're yelling back and forth of each other, and it just feels like there's like this racial tension between them, but there isn't. It's just like they're just, you know what I mean? But I thought it was a good comedic moment. Anyways, they solve the riddle eventually. And what they do is they after they solve the riddle, they try to like dispose of the bomb or give the bomb away to like the proper authorities, to police officers, but they're not real cops. They're fake cops pretending to be a part of the cleanup crew that just blew up the subway station underneath Wall Street. So while they're there, it's up to John McClane to figure out what else is going on. Something else is happening behind the scenes. So as they're about to deliver the bomb to the bad guys, they run into these kids stealing stuff from like a local grocery store, and they're like, whoa, slow down, kid, you can't be robbing stuff. What are you, an idiot? And the kid's like, dude, all the cops are so far away from this place. It's like you could rob candy, you know, you could steal candy from a baby over here. You know what I mean? It's like there's nobody here. Nobody's gonna stop me. And then Bruce Willis gets the brilliant idea of like they're tricking us. They're not really, you know, after, you know, terrorism or just blowing up the place. They're going after something else. So Bruce Willis is like, I'm going to go back to Wall Street, and you, Samuel L. Jackson, you're going to have to take care of the next riddle all by yourself. And essentially it's all in some sort of baseball field, Yankee Stadium or something. I forget where, what the exact place was, but essentially that's the final riddle. They have to go to the stadium, and that's where they were supposed to be killed. John McClane and Samuel L. Jackson were both supposed to be murdered there as like the final end to the riddle, and vengeance will be done for Alan Rickman, but instead it's Samuel L. Jackson goes there by himself, and they don't get any kind of like confirmation to kill him, so he gets away. And then Bruce Willis figures out what their real plan was, and he kills some of the bad guys. He figures out that they're taking gold. Him and Samuel L. Jackson kind of, you know what I mean, go their own separate ways, and now they're trying to figure out what the next step is. So after all that is said and done, Bruce Willis is on the chase for Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons has trucks full of gold, and they're going to a port to get onto a boat, and then they're going to deliver the gold or take the gold somewhere to be stolen, essentially. So now their new plan is to go after them, after the trucks. And Bruce Willis has to go chase after them, but he goes in like an underground tunnel dam kind of a situation. Something to do with like being underground. And long story short, he kills some more people. He meets a construction worker who's really nice and very smart. And he kind of solves one of the riddles about like who the 21st president is. And at the end of it all, Bruce Willis is just like so behind that they decide to drown him underneath like this dam that they're underneath, whatever it is. There's so much crazy stuff happens in this movie. So they try to flood him. They try to get him to drown. He miraculously pulls out through like a sewer pipe or whatever, like popping out at the end. And then he gets projectile shot up from the water. And at the same time, Samuel L. Jackson finds him and he's like, yo, what's going on? And he's like, they're taken away in the trucks. We got to go after them. So then they go to the bridge, to the port. They see the trucks getting loaded onto the boat. And they're kind of like, we have to get on that boat. And Samuel L. Jackson is like in such a crazy state of like, of shock and awe. Not awe, what's the right word? He's like in this crazy state where he's like, I have to do something because the school that they're supposedly going to blow up, the bad guys, is a school that I think his nephews or his kids that he's close to, that's where they just so happen to go to school. So he's like, I'm going to jump onto the boat and stop these guys. And Bruce Willis is like, no. That's 100-foot drop. You're going to kill yourself. He's like, we're going to shimmy our way down and make it, through like a rope of some kind. So anyways, they're down there. They're trying to like tightrope, essentially. They're like on the rope and they're kind of like trying to like crawl or walk onto the boat. And long story short, they fall onto the boat. They kill some people. I think Samuel L. Jackson goes one direction. Sorry, my throat's all messed up. Samuel L. Jackson goes one direction, and Bruce Willis goes the other. And, Samuel L. Jackson finds the bad guys. He finds Jeremy Irons, and he's about to shoot him. He's about to kill him. He has the gun in his hand. He has him at point-blank range. He tries to kill him, but he has the safety on. And then Jeremy Irons, in this cool moment, goes like, no. Look. You have to turn the safety off. And then he shoots him in the leg, and Samuel L. Jackson's like, damn. And then Bruce Willis shows up, and they catch him. But they don't immediately kill him. They're just kind of like, we're going to tie you up on this boat and blow you up with all of the gold. And they're like, you're going to blow up all of this gold, you fool? And he's just like, yes. And there's this cool moment that I like where Bruce Willis is like, dude, your brother was an asshole. And then Jeremy Irons is like, he has this kind of like crazy look in his eye, or this kind of like feeling of like, oh yeah, he was an asshole. You figured that out pretty quickly, huh? You learned that about him. And he was like, yeah, and I'm gonna kill you the same way that I killed him. And he was just like, oh yeah, let's see you try. And so they kind of like tie him up, him and Samuel L. Jackson up, and then they're supposed to die on the boat and blow up together. But come to find out, the bad guys don't really leave the gold on the boat. They're going to steal it and take it away. So they actually replaced some of the gold with random, I don't want to say coal, it's just some random metal or whatever, some random stuff. I can't, maybe like scraps. But anyways, That's the plan, is that the bad guys steal the gold, they get away, they blow up the boat, make it think it's all the gold, so that way nobody looks into finding any more of the gold, and so on and so forth. And the boat will sink, and then nobody will like really look for anything. So it just kind of seems like that's how it'll all end. But in the end, Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson managed to escape, and they get out. And then the bomb at the school was also a bluff. It's fake. It's not a real bomb. And there was also some major tension in there. There was a lot of evacuating the school and making sure all the kids got away before the bomb went off. It was all kind of like a good way to push or to build some tension that something bad was going to happen, but it wasn't. So anyways, the day is kind of over. The day is over. The bad guys sort of won. They got away with all of the gold, but Bruce Willis is like, I know they still have the gold. I know the family. I know that he's greedy. I know that he wants money. So long story, huge movies cut short, all right? Essentially, they're at their final place to quote unquote get away or to escape, or like that's their final meeting place. But because Bruce Willis asked for some aspirin because he had a headache, and the bad guy obliged him and gave him the medicine, at the bottom it kind of revealed the location that they're going to be at, and then they catch him. The bad guy tries to have sex with his girlfriend. Bruce Willis is on a helicopter and is like, did I come at a bad time? And then he catches him and blows him up. He kills him with something, I don't know, but... And then he calls his wife, and that's the end of the movie, and him and Samuel L. Jackson have a laugh. And that's the end of the movie. And, yeah, dude, this movie is wild. This movie has just about has a little bit of everything, you know? It makes you think, it has violence, it has action, it has some good comedy bits in there. It's provocative, but it's like, you know what I mean? For the time it was in, you know what I mean? It was wild. It's, I just wish that they had caught him the day of. I don't like the time skip because I don't know how much time in between they catch him or not. But anyways, I thought Samuel L. Jackson was a great addition. No Carl Winslow. Not that I can remember. I don't remember him being in the movie, but I thought, you know what I mean? I thought that was pretty fun. So anyways, when you're watching Die Hard with a Vengeance, I just want to say, I mean, it's pretty crazy what they do. I don't know how... I really don't know what, if anything, could be really done to heighten this, to like make this movie even greater than it already is. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like as a Die Hard movie, it's one of those movies where it's just like, it's so unbelievable that it's kind of like you have no choice but to respect it a little bit. It's just like, it's so over the top. It's so different, but it's so like fits within the Die Hard concept that it's like, it's just ridiculous. It's what I imagine like a daily Mission Impossible would be. You know how Mission Impossible is like they go all over the world and they do stuff? This one's kind of like, what if Mission Impossible was only in New York City, and it's just like not Ethan Hunt who can do all this crazy stuff. It's just Bruce Willis and yippee-ki-yay and a gun. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It just feels like a lot more unbelievable but gritty, you know? So anyways, I thought it was a fun movie. I didn't look any deeper into it than that. All of these movies are just like fun action movies. They're not to be taken too seriously. It's just a way to get some action, some tension, and I think it does the genre well. I think if you were like to point out, oh, what's like a 90s action movie that you kind of like, I'd be like Die Hard with a Vengeance. So when you're watching this movie, just have fun with it. It's just one of those movies where you really just gotta appreciate what they're giving you and not be like, this is unrealistic, this sucks, the action could be better here. It's just kind of like enjoy it, have fun with it, eat some popcorn. Don't be too crazy with it, and just have fun. I don't see what's wrong with that. But anyways, cool movie, all around nice action comedy, action, you know what I mean, mystery, thriller type movie. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.